Here I'm looking at today the Stanton. It's the RM416. Stanton RM416. And the reason why I'm doing one of the reasons why I'm doing a review on this is because for whatever reason I haven't seen very many reviews on YouTube regarding this particular mixer. And I found it actually to do a lot of the things that I need. I'm coming from another mixer which is really similar to this one, but this one has some more sort of like upgrades or advancements compared to my older one. And so I thought I'd give it a try and see how it does. I'm definitely going to test it before I take it out. So, but there's a couple of things I want to first introduce you to. We have two mic inputs here, okay, and they're both XLR. Well, they're multiple, so you can plug in XLR or quarter into these mic inputs here, and each one has high, mid, and low. And that was a big deal for me, the fact that obviously they have gain too, but high, mid, and low are very important to have on a mic input. Because when you're dealing with feedback, sometimes what you want to do is just sort of tune out some of the mids, and you have that capability of doing that on both of your mics and their XLR inputs for your microphones. There's a third microphone input that goes on channel 4, but I'm not going to be using that for miking at all, since I have these two XLRs inputs here, and they're balanced. The balance is generally better than regular quarter-inch unbalanced plugs. Next you have, it's a 4-channel mixer, okay? You have gains on each channel. You have high, mid, and low EQ on each channel. You have your signal levels, okay? It goes from off all the way to 0 and then +6. Each one has a Q button, okay? For previewing your track, right? But what's really cool about this one, and I think my older one, I didn't have it set up like this. It was decent the way my older one was, but this is the way I like it here. You have your regular VCA crossfader, and I think this is probably upgradable if you wanted to. You could upgrade this to a different fader if you wanted, but it's a very nice one, very light touch and everything. But what's really cool is that you have these switches here. For channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4, you have switches instead of knobs. It used to, on my old one, you had knobs that were here that would indicate the channel that you wanted A and B to mix with. So here, though, you have A, off, and B. And then you have A is your left side and B is your right side. So if I wanted to mix B, right, I would just, and it would be channel 3, I'd just switch this to B and I could mix this signal, whatever would be coming from this signal here. And so let's go ahead and look at the master section as well. Well, first, before we do that, let's look at the Q section. You obviously you have your PGM and then your Q mix, right? So this, if you don't know what this does, then you'll have to get one and figure it out. But it basically, if you have signal 2 and your fader's on A, with your Q, you can also hear what's on channel 3 as well as what's on channel 2 if you go to PGM, okay, or further you go to PGM, you'll hear one more than the other. But if you go to Q, then you'll just hear channel 3 if your fader's on channel A, so long as you have your Q button pressed on channel 3. And then you have your volume here, which is real easy, and then you have your split Q. Now, you can also cue with this button what's coming out of your mix, out of your main mix. So you press Q and you can actually listen to what's coming out of your main mix, which is kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to use that too often, but it's kind of a cool concept to have there. But what's also really nice too is if you have a system where you want to run mono, your master outs can switch to mono with this little switch here. You can switch your whole mixer to mono. That includes your tops as well as your subs. Like say for instance you have 2 tops and you have a sub. Well, in that case, you can switch everything to mono. Or if you have, let's say you're doing a wedding, ceremony, and you have one powered speaker, but you want all of your signals to come out of that one speaker, then you switch it to mono, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about the fact that it's mixed right and left. In that case, you have mono completely. Then obviously you can switch it to stereo. I don't really have to worry about that too much because I use what's called a drive rack, which is just the most wonderful piece of equipment I've ever used in my life. But if you don't have something like that, that's a pretty cool concept here. Or a crossover. And you have your master, gain, you have your balance left, right. You have also, check this out, a subwoofer out, as well as a zone out. And I'll show you the back now. Alright guys, so here's the back of the unit. And right away, you'll notice that this has a USB input. And actually on channel 4, or no, it's on channel 3, you'll see that you can actually switch it to USB. So if for those of you DJs out there who are interested in using USB on your mixer, you can do that with this mixer. I don't really do that. I have my system set up a different way, so I don't really use USB, but that's available on this. It's really nice to have that feature. Now, you have your A and B, or your right and left outputs of your mixer. These are your mains, right? They're balanced too, so they're XLR, and they have these nice covers and everything, which is cool. And you have your unbalanced master outs as well. You have your trim control, which basically adjusts how much signal is going to go out to your speakers or your drive rack or your crossover. And that's what adjusts that. Another really cool thing about this, again, like I said, it has a subwoofer out. Now it's a 1/4 inch, but within a rack system, so long as you're not running something longer than 6 feet, so long as you get a TRS connector for your subwoofer out, then you're in generally good shape. You're not going to suffer from very much interference in that situation. Just make sure you get really good cables, like monster cables or something like that, and then you can send that out to either your powered subs, or the way I have it is that I have my sub amp inside my rack. And so I would be able to send that out. Now I don't use it because I have a dry rack system which takes care of that for me. Then you have your right and left zone output. So if you wanted to set up another listening area, like a wireless speaker, or even a wired speaker in another area outside, for instance, if they want to have their first dance on the patio or something like that, you can send a wireless signal through the zone, and then you have your gain and your volume knob or gain that determines the volume for the output for your zone, which is cool. You have your record out, line 4, aux 4, line 3, and this also does record players as well. There's just a switch here that you got to switch between phono and aux. Then you have your fader start as well on A and B, fader starts, and then your mic 3 input, but all the channels are basically the same. Overall, I think it's a really cool unit, especially for the price. You're looking at about $300 depending on where you go. $300 is really good for this kind of mixer right here. Okay, guys, back with the Stanton RM.416. This is the unit installed into my rack system. And there's something I want to point out right away off the bat that's pretty cool, is that you have kind of a guard here for your power switch. You have your rocker switch here, but then you also have these guards that are on the side, which are pretty cool to have. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to point out that I didn't address on the first one. Something that you don't see on here are LED indicator lights, right? So sometimes, most of the time on mixers, you'll see like an LED, bar right here or right here, indicating the signal output of that channel. In this case, you don't have that. Instead, you have a signal light right here. See this little thing that says signal? Well, that's a multicolored LED. So basically, the way it works, and I'll show you right now, I'm playing a song to that specific channel, and you can see right now that it's not clipping at all. Okay. Now, if I turn up my gain, you'll start seeing that it'll turn various colors. See how it started turning orange? Between green and orange is probably your best bet. Between green and orange, I would try to stick below orange. But then you can tell that if you start to turn it up quite a bit, it starts going red. Now, to me, I actually prefer that. Okay, I actually prefer that over having those indicator lights, and that's a style that I think I'm going to enjoy more than those other things, because sometimes it's just too cluttery, too much stuff going on the board at one time. It may look kind of cool, but to me this is kind of a better indicator of whether or not I'm burning a particular channel. Now, the other thing that I think you also see, which I think is very interesting, is are these sliders here, or these LED indicators right here. Okay, so say for instance, you know, I'm running channel B. Okay, and let's go ahead and do that now. I'm sending a channel to channel B, and you know, as you can see in stereo mode, generally in stereo mode you have more information coming out of the right channel. It just really depends on like the song you're using. Like in this case, I'm using Sexy and I Know It. So you can see how in stereo mode you get differentiating LED indicator lights, okay, on both sides, left and right. Now, if I switch it to mono, they're both equal. And that's awesome. I love that mono switch. It's so cool, man, because that means that on both channels I'm getting the same output coupled together on the left and right. I think that's so cool. But check this out. Let's say I'm pre-listening, queuing this deck here, deck 2. And you know, there's no difference there, right? But there's a split queue button right here. If I press that, then what's coming through, then the right becomes what's my master, okay, what's coming through my main speakers. But on the left, this turns into the slider that's gauging what's coming out of my Q button. You see how that works? So like if I'm turning this channel down, you can see that side is coming down. If I turn it up, it goes up, right? So guys, I do believe that this is the best-in-class mixer within its class. Definitely. It has all kinds of nice attributes to it. Please like this video if you find it informative, which allows it to go further to the top if people are looking for the same information on the mixer. Also subscribe for more reviews, and if I get enough subscriptions and likes, I'll probably do a review of the Drive Rack PX, which is a wonderful piece of equipment.